perspectives. We are at a transformational moment when it comes to marketing, and creating an outstanding customer experience is critical. Social media is moving to social messaging. Consumers are looking for conversational experiences, and consumer behavior is aligning around these changes. As a business leader, how are you enabling these experiences and empowering your consumers? Are you building a roadmap towards the future? I sat down with Tom Edwards, Chief Digital Officer at Epsilon at the C-Suite Conference in San Francisco to discuss this massive shift towards social messaging. His thoughts on the top social media platforms for marketing, why experimentation is key, and what exactly he means by galactic cannibalism.
That's right.
How do you mitigate the risk and yet at the same time do something new like Microsoft was doing? Because what Microsoft was doing was spot on. It was the right thing to do. It's just a bunch of abusive people having some fun.
That's right. To me, it really comes down to kind of 5 core things when you think about it. It's how can you create simplicity for the consumer, right? How can you take all these complex things that are happening and make it simple? The second thing is understanding the need for what's called data design. So part of my team is, traditional brand planning as well as digital strategy. But I also have a group that's specifically focused around how do you take all of Epsilon's data assets, unstructured data, the data elements that we're capturing, and actually unlock consumer truths. So it's not just about having first-party or third-party data, but it's what are you actually doing with that to actually create experiences. The third piece to consider here is about predictive. So that's another really key part of this whole idea of conversational experiences and these connected systems that we're going to see kind of evolving over the next couple of years. So making sure that you're using the right data and building the models to where it's actually providing value and not disrupting the experience is really key. Probably one of the biggest areas of shift that I'm seeing over the next few years too is tied to what's called ambient computing. Ambient computing is how you as an individual, how your environment interacts with you as an individual.
What do you mean by that?
So say, for example, you look at all these voice-based experiences. You look at Alexa, you look at Google Home, you look at all of these things to where they're going to be essentially interconnected with all of the connected devices, whether it's an appliance, whether it's your home security system. So again, how you're developing solutions around this and the data that's actually created are things you're going to have to consider moving forward.
So that really impacts, I think, the Internet of Things, right?
Absolutely.
In terms
it's
of,
all
I have a friend of mine who actually has a sensor under his bed so that as he starts coming out of REM, lights start to go up so that when he awakes, he doesn't awake, groggy.
Right.
And he becomes more awake. And I thought, well, first of all, I thought that was weird, and then second is just, it was different. Why don't you be the rest of us and drink a couple of double espressos and get going?
That's how I start the day. Definitely,
exactly.
Definitely. But no, you're right. And that's one of the key areas that people need to really understand, especially as marketers. Right now, everything is incredibly mobile centric, and that's going to continue to be the case for the next few years. But we're going to see this evolving way in which having a Wi-Fi signal, a speaker, and a microphone are going to fundamentally shift and change how we're interacting with our environment.
And it'll be all the devices that you're either wearing or interacting with that will drive that.
That's right.
This has been Jeffrey Hazlett. You've been watching Executive Perspective Live. I've been talking to Epsilon on the future of marketing.